welcome back to Plumbing College. Today we are going to do a performance test. The idea of this test is to make sure that adequate water is left in the traps to prevent any smells from your sewer getting into your room. So when you enter your appliance, the water goes through a trap. And this trap will leave behind some water. And the idea of the water left behind is it stops any gases from the sewer coming in to your room and making it smell. So when we do a performance test, we need to make sure that adequate water is left in the trap. So that's what we're doing. So this is a 32mm trap, S-trap. So to do this test, we need something called a dipstick. This is what I've made. I've painted it matte black. We're going to take a reading and work out how much water is left in the trap after the performance test. Right, so what you'll find is under the normal working of a trap, it will leave behind this much water. And if you measure it, that's 75mm. Okay, but under a performance test, for it to pass, there needs to be at minimum 25mm left. Right, because this is a 32mm trap, and there needs to be 25mm left. So what we do, measure 50 to 25mm plus 32mm equals 57. So when I put it in, I know before I measure it, I'll know straight away whether it's passed or failed, but I still need to record the measurements. Okay. After we've marked out the dipstick, we then look at what is the most use on this branch. So it's going to be 2 basins discharged together for this branch. What we do is we do 3 sets of tests. Okay, so we fill the basins up and discharge them and take a reading. Then we do set 2, fill the basins up and take a reading, and set 3, fill the basins up and take a reading, and we record the readings. Scenario. Right, folks, top tip, when you hear a burping noise, okay, that's never a good sign. That means that there's some siphonage happening. So there's a lot of noise from this side. Okay, right, so what we do now, we dry off the inside. You don't want to give any false readings. So we then take a reading from either sink and record it. Okay, so at minimum, this should get wet at minimum, that low end there. So we can do this one first and this one second. Let's see what happens. Make sure it goes all the way to the bottom. Take it out. It's there. As you can see, that is well below. That is well below the required level. So let's record this. Right, so there is. So reading 1 from that sink is about 40mm. Okay, 40mm. Right, now let's try basin number 2. Okay. So we dip it all the way into the bottom, like this. This reading as well is below that's the line there, that's below, it's also below, so that's reading about 50 mil. So both these traps have failed the performance test, okay, but we have to do it 3 times. Okay, so we've refilled the traps just to normal. Okay, lots of burping still, which means siphonage is happening. Make sure it's all dry, so it doesn't get any false readings. Let's take a reading all the way to the bottom. Like this. That's the line there. That's how much I got wet. So it's still far below, and that actually reads, that reading is 46 mil. 2. Put it all the way to the bottom of the trap. Okay, so that reading there is that's about 75 mil. So reading 2 is about 75 mil. Okay, and the minimum to pass the test as we marked was that line there. Okay, so that one's passed it that time. Right, then the final test. About 47 millimeters. That's in the other basin. That's exactly in the line, so that means that that's 57 mil. Right, so the reason we've done this 3 sets of tests is because it could have passed on the first test, passed on the second and failed on the third, so that's why we do it. But in this case, it failed on the first test, so we could have stopped the test and took action then, but I've done all 3 tests just to show you how it's done. Now is I've replaced the S-traps with bottle traps with the anti-siphon device built in. You can't get S-traps with the anti-siphon device built in. Okay, so what happens is when rather than the water gets sucked out, it lets air in. So I put them on both because both failed the test. I swapped them both. So let's give it a test and let's see what happens. I can't hear a single gurgling noise, so I know it's all going to be good. Okay, is 100 and that much. If the camera picks it up, it's 111, 110 millimeters, and that's the minimum. It's up there. That's passed easily. I then done this test 3 more times like before, and I was getting the same result. Okay, just to sort of summarise, whatever trap failed, so during the 3 sets of tests, whatever trap failed, you have to then take action and change. In this case, it was both traps, but we had to change. So that is how you So that is how you do a performance test. So now you know how to do a performance test. It's your turn to have a go.